In every room you enter, there exists an invisible hierarchy, often unspoken, but deeply felt. Whether it's a corporate boardroom, a street corner, or a family dinner table, there are those who lead and those who follow. Among the many personalities that emerge in these dynamics, there's one archetype that stands above the rest, not because they demand power, but because power seems to orbit them naturally. This is the psychology of the emperor. To understand the emperor, you must first strip away the fantasy of crowns and thrones. An emperor is not a man of jewelry and robes. He's a man of presence, gravitas, a stillness that makes others question themselves. He rarely raises his voice because he doesn't need to. His silence is louder than most people's shouting. When he speaks, people lean in, not because of what he says, but because of who he is. An emperor does not beg for validation. He doesn't chase applause. His worth is self-determined. He could walk into a room full of critics and still command the floor without uttering a single word. Why? Because he operates from a deep sense of internal stability. He is not tossed around by trends, opinions, or temporary emotions. While others react, he calculates. While others explain, he observes. In a world addicted to noise, the emperor wields silence like a weapon. The average man plays for attention. The emperor plays for control, and not control in the juvenile sense. He's not interested in micromanaging others or forcing submission. His control is more subtle. He controls perception. He controls timing. He controls the energy in the room. Not because he's obsessed with power, but because he understands that power is about direction, influence, leverage. An emperor does not fight every battle. He chooses his wars with precision. While others exhaust themselves trying to win every argument, he is focused on positioning. The immature man is reactive. The emperor is strategic. He knows that the loudest man in the room is often the weakest. And so he lets the fools burn themselves out while he quietly consolidates strength. Patience is not weakness to him, it's a form of psychological warfare. Now understand this. The emperor isn't born, he's built. He is forged through solitude, betrayal, responsibility, and the weight of leadership. He's the one who carries more than his share and still doesn't complain. Because he knows no one truly respects the man who complains. Respect is given to the one who endures, who adapts, who stays standing when others fold. There's a coldness to him, yes. But it's not cruelty, it's clarity. He sees the world for what it is, unforgiving, transactional, power-based. And rather than crying about fairness, he learns the rules and bends them. He doesn't need to be liked, but he demands to be respected. And if he isn't respected, he'll withdraw his energy, not in bitterness, but in principle. He does not give his presence cheaply. An emperor builds legacy, not moments. He's not chasing short-term gratification or empty pleasures. He understands the weight of his name. His decisions are not made out of impulse, but out of vision. He thinks in decades. He moves in silence, but builds in permanence. While others seek approval, he seeks immortality, not through fame, but through impact. He is not distracted. He's not on his phone looking for dopamine hits. He doesn't need the world's validation to feel alive. He is rooted in purpose, and because of that, he becomes a gravitational force. People orbit him, not because he pulls them in, but because he stands still while the rest of the world spins in chaos. His confidence doesn't come from affirmations. It comes from competence. He doesn't have to pretend to be strong. He is strong because he's been through the fire. And he didn't just survive it. He mastered it. Pain did not break him. It sharpened him. He turned isolation into introspection, rejection into recalibration, loss into leverage. You will never hear him say, "They don't believe in me," because he doesn't care. He believes in himself, and that is enough. He's not here to prove anything. He's here to build something, something that lasts, something that echoes. His relationships are few but deep. He does not waste time entertaining the disloyal. He knows loyalty is not about convenience, it's about principle. And so he keeps his circle small, not out of fear, but out of standards. He does not tolerate betrayal, and he does not explain his absence. He simply disappears. Because when you are an emperor, your presence is a privilege. He doesn't manipulate with words, he influences with vision. He paints a picture so vivid, others want to follow, not out of obligation, but out of inspiration. He doesn't command loyalty. He earns it by embodying what others only talk about: discipline, consistency, and unwavering clarity. Now, make no mistake, the emperor is not perfect. He has flaws, many. But what sets him apart is that he owns them. He's not hiding behind a mask. He's not pretending to be moral for social points. He knows who he is, and he's comfortable in his own skin. He's not trying to be everything to everyone. He's being everything to himself. He does not explain himself to those who are committed to misunderstanding him. He doesn't waste energy defending his character to the insecure. His life speaks louder than the gossip. His results drown out their noise. When the empire shakes, he doesn't panic. He recenters. Because he's not attached to comfort. He's committed to growth. He knows empires are not built by avoiding discomfort. They are built by enduring storms, navigating chaos, and maintaining vision when everyone else loses their way. To be an emperor is not about dominance. It's about alignment. It's about embodying the kind of man who doesn't flinch in the face of challenge, who doesn't beg for respect, but earns it in silence, who doesn't just talk about power, but lives it through restraint, discipline, and unshakable clarity. The emperor moves differently, speaks less, observes more. He is not chasing power, he is becoming it. And that's the difference. The higher a man rises, the lonelier the air becomes. Power has a cost, and the emperor knows this better than anyone. The cost is not gold, not land, not applause. The cost is understanding. The emperor walks a path that few can follow, not because it's blocked, but because most men lack the stomach to walk it. He's been betrayed by those he helped, attacked by those he protected, mocked by those who once admired him. And yet, he does not collapse under bitterness. He doesn't seek revenge through chaos. No, he studies, he learns, he adapts. While others react emotionally, he dissects reality like a surgeon. Pain is not his enemy, it is his compass. Every wound he receives sharpens his intuition. Every failure teaches him where weakness lives. And through this relentless refinement, he becomes sharper than any sword. You see, the emperor understands a brutal truth. People don't always love the one who leads them. They envy him. They resent his certainty. His stability reminds them of their own chaos. His discipline makes their excuses echo louder. And for that, they will try to humble him. Not for his faults, but for his excellence. The weak will always attempt to reduce what they cannot replicate. But the emperor is unmoved. His self-worth is not based on the volume of applause or the silence of criticism. He understands that leadership isn't about being liked. It's about being effective. He didn't climb the mountain to wave at the crowd. He climbed to build a fortress at the top, something enduring, something sovereign. He doesn't chase conflict, but when it finds him, he doesn't run. He responds with precision, with minimal motion, like a lion that only roars once before the jungle goes silent. His enemies often miscalculate, confusing calm with weakness. But when pushed beyond the threshold, the emperor reveals a power they were never prepared for. Not because he enjoys destruction, but because sometimes power must be demonstrated so that it is not questioned again. He speaks rarely, but when he does, every word has weight. He doesn't gossip. He doesn't whine. He doesn't engage in idle talk. Every sentence is intentional. Every silence is strategic. He knows that real influence isn't about talking more. It's about saying less and meaning more. He's not reactive to disrespect. He's surgical with it. If you disrespect him, you don't get chaos. You get absence. You get silence. He withdraws, and in that vacuum, people realize they were never dealing with an ordinary man. His presence brought order. His gaze brought clarity. His energy stabilized the environment. And when he leaves, the room trembles in confusion. The emperor is not addicted to revenge. He's addicted to evolution. He's not out to destroy his enemies. He's out to build such an unshakable structure that their opinions become irrelevant. His legacy is his revenge. His discipline is his justice. He understands hierarchy, but not just in social settings. He creates it internally. His mind is organized. His emotions serve him, not control him. He doesn't rage when challenged. He calculates. He doesn't celebrate loudly when he wins. He refocuses. Because the emperor knows, the moment you become too impressed with yourself, you stop growing. And stagnation is death. He doesn't seek peace through comfort. He creates peace through strength. When people are around him, they feel it. Not because he tells them, but because it radiates from how he moves, how he thinks, how he acts under pressure. He doesn't react to every slight. He doesn't need to correct every rumor. His life is too important, too intentional, to be wasted explaining himself to the uninformed. There is a cold elegance to the emperor. He loves deeply, but selectively. He protects fiercely, but silently. He leads without forcing, and yet his shadow stretches farther than most men's voices. People follow not because he commands them to, but because they feel safer under his gaze than they do under their own guidance. And yet his path is not glamorous. It is demanding. He sacrifices comfort for clarity. He sacrifices company for vision. He knows that not everyone can come with him. And he's accepted that, not with resentment, but with resolve. The man who tries to be everything to everyone ends up being nothing to himself. The emperor would rather walk alone in truth than be celebrated in delusion. He does not waste time convincing others to change. He builds, he models. He becomes the example, not the preacher. His presence corrects what the lecturers never could. When you're in his world, you either rise or you fall, but you will not remain the same. He does not flex. He doesn't need symbols to feel powerful. The real emperor can walk through the world in silence, in plain clothes, and still make kings feel small. Why? Because power is not worn. It is embodied. It lives in his posture, in his patience, in his refusal to be shaken by chaos. He understands diplomacy, but he's not a politician. He's a tactician. He can make allies, but he doesn't beg for loyalty. He knows every alliance is temporary unless rooted in mutual respect. He doesn't manipulate love, he earns it. And if it cannot be earned, he walks away. The emperor doesn't flinch when others challenge his authority. He doesn't puff his chest or raise his voice. He allows others to reveal their immaturity through volume, while he maintains his composure through silence. Because true dominance doesn't need to shout, it's felt. When others panic, he plans. When others quit, he recalibrates. He sees what others miss, not because he's a genius, but because he listens when others speak and watches when others move. He reads the room like a book and sees intentions before they're spoken. He's not here to entertain. He's not here to conform. He is here to reign over his life, over his choices, over his time. He doesn't tolerate disrespect because he doesn't tolerate disorder, not in his environment and not in himself. His standards are not just rules, they're reflections of how seriously he takes his own life. He doesn't want everything. He just wants what's his. And when he sees it, he moves efficiently, decisively, without hesitation. Because hesitation is the language of the unsure, and he is sure. Not because he's always right, but because he's always ready to take responsibility, no matter the outcome. The emperor does not need your approval. He doesn't crave your compliments. But if you offer him genuine loyalty, he will protect you with a force you've never seen. Because while his wrath is legendary, his loyalty is even more so. He will build for you, fight for you, stand for you, so long as you never force him to question your honor. And when the world shifts, when chaos rises, when the old systems fall apart, the emperor remains. Because he wasn't built on trends. He wasn't built on hype. He was built on something most men run from: solitude, hardship, failure, and reflection. He turned loss into clarity, silence into wisdom, rejection into rain. And so he doesn't just survive the storm, he becomes it. That is the psychology of the emperor.